You're all coming to my special party,
repeated Violet Elizabeth to the outlaws in a tone of finality.
My mother's going to see your mother, and they'll make you come.
If you think, said William, that anyone's going to make me come to a rotten old party of yours...
It's ever so special, William, said Violet Elizabeth. An unusual sort of party.
They walked on through the wood in silence.
Don't you want to know what sort of a special party it is?
Said Violet Elizabeth. Don't answer her, said William to the others. Don't take any notice of her. What sort of special party is it, anyway?
It's a mixture of a party for me and a party for Aunt Jo.
Aunt what?
Aunt Jo. Her name's Josephine. She's Mummy's godmother, and she's coming to spend the day with us. And the day she's coming is my birthday, so Mummy thought she'd have a special sort of party. An unusual sort of party. There's going to be games like Postman's Knock and Kiss in the Ring. It's an old-fashioned sort of party.
William gave a snort. It'll be that all right if you're there, he said.
What sort of an old-fashioned party? Said Ginger. Well, Mummy thought that Auntie Jo would like the sort of games they had when she was a little girl. Games like Postman's Knock.
Postman's Knock? What's that? Said William.
It's a nice game. Someone goes out into the hall and then knocks at the door and says, "A letter for someone." And the person whose name they say has got to go out into the hall and kiss them. And if they say 2 letters, they've got to give them 2 kisses. And if they say 3 letters, they've got to give them 3 kisses. And if they say 10 letters...
Shut up, said William. His face was deadly white. If you think we're going to a party with sickening games like that, we'd rather die 1,000 deaths, supplied Henry. Yes, we jolly well would, said William. More than 1,000. I'd rather die 10,000 than play a sickening game like that.
It's not a sickening game, William, said Violet Elizabeth. It's a nice game. It's not rough like cowboys and Indians. And we're going to have another old-fashioned game called Kiss in the Ring. Mummy says it's a sweet game, and she's going to see your mothers, and they'll make you come.
Said William. I bet our mothers have got a bit more sense than that. I bet our mothers feel the same as what we do. I bet our mothers would rather die 1,000 deaths than let us go to a sickening party like that. But his heart sank when he reached the gate of his home and saw the plump, overdressed figure of Violet Elizabeth's mother filling, almost to overflowing, the small armchair by the window. He tiptoed into the hall, wondering whether to retreat to the refuge of his bedroom or go into the sitting-room and learn the worst. He decided to go into the sitting-room and learn the worst. He opened the door and stood there, turning his famous ferocious scowl from his mother to Mrs. Bott, from Mrs. Bott to his mother.
"Oh, there you are, love," said Mrs. Bott. "I've just been telling your mother about a nice little treat I've got for you."
"I'd rather die 1,000, began William. "Say, how do you do, dear?" said Mrs. Brown, hastily. "How do you do?" said William, intensifying his ferocious scowl and trying to infuse a dark and ominous threat into the words. Mrs. Bott beamed at him complacently.
"Oh, dear little Boysie," she said. "He has his little shy turns, same as any other child, after all, hasn't he? Well, Mrs. Brown, as I was telling you, this godmother of mine that I've not seen for years is coming down to spend the day with us, and the day she's chose, next Wednesday, happens to be Violet Elizabeth's birthday."
Mrs. Bott paused, then, as was her occasional custom, leisurely collected the missing aspirate.
Happens. So I thought I'd kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as it were, and sort of make Violet Elizabeth's birthday a real treat for this Aunt Jo of mine. I thought I'd have a children's party, but with the old-world games that people used to have at children's parties when she was a child. It'd be a bit out of the ordinary. I mean, it'd be something that's never been done before. I've always...
She spoke wistfully.
I've always wanted to do something that's never been done before, but I've never been able to think up anything. It'd be a nice little treat for Aunt Jo, and it'd be great fun for the kiddies.
William uttered a sound that was meant to be a grunt of disgust, but it sounded like a low growl. "Be quiet, dear," said Mrs. Brown.
It's all them ice creams he eats, said Mrs. Bott. They lays heavy on the stomach. Heavy. Well, about this here children's party, I'm not telling Aunt Jo about it till she comes. It's going to be a lovely surprise for her.
Is she fond of children? Asked Mrs. Brown. Mrs. Bott seemed to consider the question for the first time.
Well, I suppose so. Up to a point, same as the rest of us, I mean. But
Mrs. Bott's plump face shone with joy.
I've got hold of a reporter from the Hadley Times, Mr. Petersham, the highest up reporter of all, and he's going to do it, make a newspaper article out of it. He wouldn't do an ordinary children's party, but he'd do an old-world children's party with sweet old-world games like Postman's Nog and Kiss in the Ring. He's promised me he'll do it. In the paper.
A smile of ecstasy again curved Mrs. Bott's lips.
In print.
Mrs. Bott had a secret craving for publicity. She longed to be somebody. She thirsted to see her name in the paper. Her demands were not exorbitant. A mention in the Hadley Times represented the height of her ambition at present. But so far the paper had ignored her activities.
He says it's news, an original children's party, he's going to call it, and he's going to put it on the front page. So I'm getting busy giving out the invites now to make sure everyone will turn up. William will come, of course.
Yes, of course he will, said Mrs. Brown, carefully avoiding her son's eye. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bott.
What, me? Said William in a strangled voice. Me?
I'd rather... Of course you'll go, dear, said Mrs. Brown. It's very kind of Mrs. Bott to ask you. William glared helplessly.
You wouldn't think he was shy to see him about, said Mrs. Bott, but he'll soon get over his shyness once he starts romping about at them sweet old-fashioned kissing games. Oh, dear little Boysie.
Mrs. Brown saw her visitor off and returned to William. I'm not going, he said. Now, don't be silly, dear. You'll have to go.
I'd rather die 1,000 deaths, said William.
Don't be ridiculous, William. One has to be neighbourly. When you're invited anywhere, you're expected to go unless you have some good excuse.
I've got a good excuse. I've got toothache. I've got to go to the dentist that day.
Well, if you've got toothache, you'd better go to the dentist tomorrow.
I don't want to go tomorrow. I want to go on the day of the party. Besides, I'm ill. I'm sickening for something. If I went to that party, I'd give 'em all what I'm sickening for, and I don't think I ought to. I don't think it'd be right. It wouldn't be fair on the others.
If you're feeling ill, dear, said Mrs. Brown, I'd better ring up the doctor.
I don't want any old doctor. I can tell when I'm sickening for something better than any old doctor. It's me that's sickening, isn't it, not him? Besides, I've got an important engagement that day. I can't possibly go.
What important engagement?
It's something secret that I can't talk about. It's something that the fate of nations depends on.
The thrilling imaginary existence that William led as a Secret Service spy often became more real than the actual world around him.
I'm afraid I can't talk about it. Sorry, there's people's lives hanging on threads by it. There's webs of mystery and tangled labyrinths of crime and people walking on razor's edges and...
William, said Mrs. Brown calmly, you've not given me one single sensible reason why you can't go.
Yes, I have, said William.
What is it?
That I'd rather die 1,000 deaths.
Don't keep saying that. In a small place like this, one can't afford to offend people. Mrs. Bott goes up in the air about nothing at all. She'll be sure to take offence if you don't go, and I just can't be bothered by it.
And what about me? What about me suffering untold agony in those awful games?
Oh, it won't be as bad as all that, William, smiled Mrs. Brown. It'll be over in an hour or two, and then you can forget all about it.
Can I? I've heard of people that had their hair turned white by a few hours of untold agony. Well, don't blame me if I come back from that old party with my hair white.
He gave his short, ironic laugh.
Huh! I'll look jolly funny, won't I, going about for the rest of my life with my hair white, and all because you made me go and suffer untold agony at that batty party.
It's no use talking about it, said Mrs. Brown. You'll have to go, and that's all there is to it.
A meeting with Ginger, Henry and Douglas the next day did little to raise William's spirits. Each of their mothers had adopted the same attitude as Mrs. Brown.
"More like hyenas than human parents," said Ginger bitterly.
"Yes, and look at me," said William, "tortured by toothache, sickening for an awful disease, and with the fate of nations hanging on me by threads, and I've got to go to a soppy kid's party. She doesn't even seem to care about my hair turning white. Gosh, I bet even a hyena'd care about its son's hair turning white."
"I told mine I didn't think I ought to go to a party," said Henry. "My aunt was saying the other day that it was this mad pursuit of pleasure that was the curse of the age and turned people into hooligans. So I said I'd start giving up this mad pursuit of pleasure by not going to Violet Elizabeth's party. You'd have thought they'd have been pleased, but they weren't. Well, it'll be their own fault if I turn into a hooligan and a curse of the age, same as what she said. I told mine I thought I ought to be studying instead of wasting my time at parties," said Ginger. "I said I was backward in natural history and I ought to go into the woods and study it."
"Yeah, that was a good idea," said William, with a touch of envy in his voice. He hadn't thought of that one.
"It wasn't any good," said Ginger gloomily. "They keep saying I ought to take my schoolwork more seriously, and then when I try to, they send me off to soppy kids' parties."
"I told him I'd rather die 1,000 deaths," said William.
So did I. "So did I,"
said Ginger, Henry and Douglas. "You wouldn't believe it, would you?" said William helplessly. 4 human parents letting their sons die 1,000 deaths just to stop one dotty old woman from
going up in the air.
"We can't get out of it," said Douglas with a sigh. "We'll have to wash our faces and necks and ears and brush our hair and—" His mind dwelt with morbid relish on the scene, "and put on clean shirts and best suits and tight garters, and they'll stand at the window to make sure we go off to it." "Yes," said William slowly. "Yes, but they can't do more than that." "What do you mean?" William looked up at them. There was a particular expression on his face. The outlaws breathed a sigh of relief. They knew what that expression meant. They knew, with a certainty born of long experience, that their leader had a plan.